Daily Dose of Daryl from the Peebles Motivation Bureau, Season 2, Episode 21, February 20th through 26th. Chief Blackfeather Tribute. When did the Native Americans come to America? Basically, from 11,500 to 30,000 years ago. And by 10,000 BC, they had occupied much of North America, Central, and South America. Now, to put that in perspective, we all know about the pyramids that were built a long time ago, roughly 2,500 years BC, over in Egypt. So, what was going on during that time here? Well, thousands of years before then, people were here in our area in North America. Now, Europeans arriving in the New World met people all the way from the frozen north to the frozen south. Many cultures and established languages had taken place through the decades. All kinds of people were already here. And when the Spanish brought no women with them in 1492, intermingling began. Immediately upon arrival, Europeans began to flow, and the DNA from both people here and from overseas began to mix together. But these people had occupied these American lands for at least 20,000 years. And it's only because of the presence of Europeans from the 15th century onward that we even have the terms such as Indians or Native Americans. So how many Native Americans lived before 1492 here on these lands? Can't really tell for sure. The estimates range from 3.8 million to 18 million. The history of historic Providence Christian Church began around 1763 according to writings and reports from earlier days. It continues to the present day. After 250 years in 2013, a celebration was held for an entire year to recognize, honor, and record much of the history of so many aspects of this region and state that have roots right there on that site. As a part of that celebration, since court sessions were held there for western Orange County and even many pre-Revolutionary War activities took place at that site, a site that had been occupied for hundreds of thousands of years by indigenous people, we had Chief John Blackfeather Jeffries and his wife Vicky to be a part of the celebration. Her grandfather also was caretaker for the cemetery on that site for years. John did a great job of sharing the history of the Occaneechi tribe of the Saponi Nation. I am including his talk as a part of my YouTube channel's doses this week because on January 24th, 2023, Chief Jeffries left us. According to writings from the Native American papers, his loss is certainly great. The entire tribal nation, Indian country, friends, and beyond are saddened at the loss of one of the great leaders and standard bearers. His efforts have been felt for decades by American Indians and others across our great nations of American Indians. He touched so many of us and was an iconic mentor for all of us. He grew up in Hillsboro, was chairman of the tribal council for several years, and was considered a tribal elder at the time of his death. He was known for his leadership of the tribe and made an impact across the eastern United States. His hands-on efforts helped create the Occaneechi village at Hillsboro, and under his direction it was restored later on in life. Take time this week to pay attention to his words as he recounts some of the history of this area from the people who have taken care of these lands long before the Europeans came to the continent. John Blackfeather grew up in Hillsboro on the lands which his ancestors have stewarded for millennia. As a child, John received many cultural teachings from his mother and grandparents. John was also able to freely explore nature and to build an intimate relationship with the Occaneechi homelands. Chief John Blackfeather Jeffries. Hear his words today.
Good afternoon. My name is Chief Jeffries. I'm from the Occaneechi Band of Saponi Nation, and this is John Blackfeather Jeffries, also part of the Occaneechi Band of Saponi Nation. And we really thank you for the invitation to come out today to share through our culture and our history. And what we're going to do now, we're going to do a prayer for Mach G, led by John Jeffries.
Meku Ginigu, what you say, hold it, I told you so. In my languages, it greetings, friends. My name is John Blackfeather. It translates dancer with the feathers of the black, the feathers that bring fortune. Makchi, Mahone, Makchi Tamoy, Yak Pibidi, Makchi Tamoy, Yak Spirit Baby, Mahoa, Hokayi Nam, Tahon, Tai, Giwe Me, Tai. Translated in English, it says, Grandfather, our hearts are good, our minds are fine. Spirit of the old ones, give us strength, give me strength to stand tall, sing and dance in your honor. Oh.
John Blackfeather is a tribal elder, and he's one of our past chiefs of the Occaneechi Band of Saponi Nation. And he's going to tell you about the history of the Occaneechi Band of Saponi Nation.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. There's one correction that I'd like to make. We're not going to tell you the history of the Occaneechi. We're going to tell you the H-I-S-S-T-O-R-Y. Yes, sir. We're going to tell you our story. As far as been recorded, our people, thousands and thousands of years ago, came out of what is now, they say Ohio, Ohio. Then they proceeded to come south, where it was warm. They came to Kentucky, and now where's West Virginia, into what is now Virginia. They settled in the middle of the Roanoke Island, there in Clarksville, Virginia, the Roanoke River. And that's where they dominated the trading path before European contact. And the Europeans came in, visited from Jamestown, came out of Fort Henry, which is now Petersburg, Virginia. They came in from Albany, New York to Petersburg, Fort Henry. They traded with the Occaneechi on Occaneechi Island. The island is inundated by Bugs Island, by the water now. In the low tides, when the water resides, you can see part of the island. It was 750 acres, and it had several islands upstream that were inhabited by several other tribes under the protection of the Occaneechi. Now, when the settlers came into traveling west from Jamestown, and at the time of Williamsburg at the time, they had to come through the Occaneechi village, and it became one of the most important trading posts at that time in the area. The Occaneechis had lots of hides and skins, and the settlers were using these hides and skins to make their clothing as they traveled to the western hemisphere, and what is now Greensboro on up to the mountains. But they traded with the Europeans. They had sugar, all kinds of spices. They had rifles. And they had all kinds of powders that they traded with the Europeans. Also metal. The Occaneechi became very wealthy. And they traded with the Cherokee in the west. The Saponas, the Kiowas, the Stukinos, and some Catawbas that came from where they now North Carolina and South Carolina came up to trade with us. And we also had relatives to the north with the Monicans, the Manakans, as some call them. And they were also our brothers. Now the language that our people spoke, it was a Siouan language. It was called the language of the Tataro, of the Tutelo. And that's the language that you use to trade Now, our story records that in able to someone to trade with the Occaneechi, they had to either speak the language or they had to have an interpreter. But they couldn't. A lot of times their lives were taken. You had to cross the Great Roanoke River to get to the village. And to be able to cross that river, one side to the other, you had to pay a toll. History doesn't record this. HISSTY called his story. But that was the first time we moved in this country. They had to go pay a toll to get across from one island to the other. So then, in the 1600s, the Occaneechi were very prosperous. They were trading. The trading paths extended later on from Fort Henry all the way to Augusta, Georgia, with the trading paths. There's several trading paths right now in Hillsboro. They're marked where you can go see where you cross the actual village down in Hillsboro. But before that, there was a man named Nathaniel Bacon. How many of you heard of the Bacon Rebellion? You heard of the Bacon Rebellion? Well, Nathaniel Bacon was a militiaman up in Jamestown. And they had Governor Berkeley and Lieutenant Governor Spotswood at that time. They had inhabited the area. And so Nathaniel Bacon had traded with the Occaneechis, and other tribes had traded with the Occaneechis. So Nathaniel Bacon wanted to obtain the riches the Occaneechi had there. They had one of the wealthiest tribes that they had met so far. And so Nathaniel Bacon, he got in with a group of Susquehannas from the north. Now this history I'm telling you is very brief, but it's all recorded. The Susquehannas were Iroquoian people. And he was the peace chief, and the war chief was Hercules. They were the two men of the Occaneechi. So some of the Susquehannas and the Occaneechis went out and killed these settlers. And so they were going to punish them. And so Spotswood and Berkeley wanted to punish the native people, but Hercules said no. And Rashishi said, this is our land, we are our protection. So what happened is Rashishi had some of the Occaneechis that were involved, and some of the Susquehannas, and he killed them. Well, that set a fire to the Susquehannas. So Bacon saw his chance. So he got with the Susquehannas, and they had a meeting. And sure enough, they went into the Occaneechi village, and they had a real good time. About 3 or 4 days partying, drinking rum. And the Occaneechi became inebriated. So Bacon on each side of the one side of the island, which was the high side, had cannons. The rifles on the other side. And they attacked the village and broke the strength of the Occaneechi. Some of the Occaneechi were captured by the Susquehanna and the Iroquois Confederacy, carried back up into what is now New York. It was sold into the tribe. A lot of the Occaneechi escaped and went back into Ohio, which they have an organization up there now in Ohio. So the Occaneechi escaped and came south into what is now Hillsboro. And they were able to construct another village there. This was in the late 1600s. In the meantime, Spotswood and Berkeley had established a fort in what is now Lawrenceville, Virginia, called it Fort Christiana, to Christianize the Indians and to teach them and assimilate into the European culture. Well, in the mid-1700s, there were 19 Bowens of families that left there and came down into present-day Hillsboro. they established Occaneechi town. They went back into the area. I'm a little bit ahead of myself. They went back into the area, Fort Christiana. They left again, came down and went down Pleasant Road, a little Texas community out there, Pleasant Road. That's where they stayed. That's where they still are, out there in Pleasant Road community. But it's like anything else, Occaneechi moved around. They moved up into Burlington, Greensburg, Durham, Hillsboro, Chapel Hill, Roxboro, all that. That's just a little brief history of the Occaneechis. And then in 1775, well, we got a historians in here. I think it's 1775, somewhere in that area. It's when they came in and William Churchill laid out Hillsboro. And a lot of people said, well, the Occaneechis all left, they were all dead. Well, I don't think my grandfather, great-great-grandfather was dead, and granddad wasn't dead, and dad wasn't dead, I'm not dead, so he wasn't dead. He stayed dead. So that's a little bit of the history and our story of the Occaneechi tribe. And we now have 25 acres of land out there on Highway 19, right from my house, Highway 19, a daily store road. And my granddad used to go down the daily store road. He had a store they called Mayhead store. Granddad had been out there and we could go out 62 out in that area. And,
As Johnny mentioned, in June 7th and 8th this year, we have our powwow. And everyone is welcome to come out. We have 2 days of dancing, native food, storytelling, games for the kids, just everything that you can imagine. So hopefully that everyone will come out and enjoy the powwow. Right now, I'm the powwow chair. I was made the permanent powwow chair. I didn't think there was ever a permanent position. But I am the permanent powwow chair, and I'm also tribal council. I sit on the tribal council. And right now, we're trying to move the Occaneechi Band of Saponi Nation forward, participating in a lot of different things, and we thank you for inviting us out today. And it's just, as Johnny said, it's a work in progress. I'm working on a zillion things. I have a committee that helps me so that we're trying to get the name of the Occaneechi Band of Saponi Nation out there. And throughout the year, we're going to have different things out there, festivals, and we have fundraisers at some of the local restaurants, and we're trying to advertise all that. But right now, I'm just working on a lot of things along with the Tribal Council and along with my committee to get the Occaneechi Band of the Saponi Nation out there. So if you have a chance, you can go to our website. It's www.thanksdaddyhas. We do have some cards available, but you can go on that website and you can see pictures of the past powwows and things that are coming up and just everything that we're getting into. We try to post it there. And whenever we participate in any type of festivity, we do post the pictures there. So we really hope that you'll visit that, come out to the powwow, enjoy 2 beautiful days of just relaxing. It's the most relaxing powwow there is. And to taste the native food and hear our culture and see the beautiful, beautiful dancers. I'm a traditional dancer and I dance at the powwows and when I'm not running around, but I go around to different powwows so that we can have all intertribal, all tribes to attend. And just, if you can go to our website, view our pictures, and just, come on out and have a really good time with us. And once again, we do thank you, and in our language is Bilu. Thank you for having us out here today. And I do have a special connection to here. My grandfather, John Carter, was the caretaker for the cemetery, and they called him Buddy, and he was the caretaker for the cemetery also. But once again, we thank you for having us here.
Well, I had to rewind. Another project that we have going out to our tribal grounds, my son is vice chair of the Occaneechi Band of Saponi Nation. And we have what we call healthy eating for all people. And we're growing healthy crops out there. We're breaking the land down, and we acquired a tractor. We're going to get some more farm equipment out there. And last year, he grew sorghum, and he made molasses And so this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to get involved in some of the old ways. We got 100 heirloom apple trees out there that's planted. We got pawpaws planted. Right now we're in competition with the deer. But we're gonna have a garden out there when you come to the power. We'll have a garden out there. We're gonna try to raise heirloom tobacco that our people use for ceremonial. And we'll also have some bright leaf out there because Alamance, Orange, Castle, all those counties need tobacco. That was our livelihood at that time. So we'll be growing corn and all the vegetables out there, and hopefully we're going to have a farmer's market one day out there. Thank you much.
This is Daryl R. Peebles, the man behind the microphone, bringing you something positive each day from the Peebles Motivation Bureau, both positive, personal, and professional. Remember, there are 3 divisions: digital, real life, and print. But in the digital, we have not only the YouTube channel, but the website, Zoom events, and much more. In the real life, we do pulpit supply, funerals, weddings, magic shows, keynote speakers, and more. And in the print division, not only books, but magazine articles, newspapers, and custom artwork. Locally ordered books from me can get signatures and special discount. This one is already out and about, helping others. Churches and pastors have special discounts. I appreciate you, your ideas and support. Keep them coming. These are other areas that I might be able to help you, and these are my contact points. This is Daily Dose of Daryl, responding to the free and gracious gift of God. I am using humor, the art of illusion, modern technology, and decades of serving God and communities to work every day to uncover the beauty in all people and experiences coming my way, endeavoring to educate, entertain, and inspire. Each dose on this channel can help move us toward a better, healthier, and more informed mind, body, and spirit. I'm excited to be a small part of the expanding of our capacity to learn, love, and forgive, and together leave this world a better place for all. God bless you.